How fast do you think I was going?
You're going over 10% over the speed limit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Attorneys React, where all your favorite attorneys react to all the stupid that's going on in our world. I'm Uncivil Law for Attorneys React, and today's video is based on a video entitled Lying Cop Gets Owned. Well, that's always a fun moment of schadenfreude when we see the cops get hoisted on their own petard. Because we do see people behaving badly. Sometimes it's the suspect, sometimes it's the police, but we always try to adjudicate in a fair and neutral way here on Attorneys React. And when it's the cops that are in the wrong, we're more than happy to call them out as well. So let's take a look at this video and see what's going on in this case. Let's get started with this.
And so the reason why you got pulled over as you passed me, I noticed you had your phone up.
No, my phone's right here.
Well, maybe it was my mistake then I stand corrected.
Have a good day.
No, you're not free to go. You seem to be in a...
What do you mean he's not free to go? The basis for you pulling him over has just stopped. The police can pull you over for reasonably articulable suspicion. That's the standard for a standard roadside stop. And God knows there's any number of violations that one could pull you over for. But his basis for pulling them over is using a cell phone, which is apparently illegal in this jurisdiction. Your mileage may vary as to using a cell phone, hands-free or not, depending on your jurisdiction. Look it up. But apparently that's a violation to use the cell phone, at least be holding it in your hand while driving. And this guy wasn't doing that. He says it's right here on my dash. Well, the officer says it was a mistake. I'm like, okay, I'm free to go. That should be the correct answer, because the police, when they have reasonably articulable suspicion, can only do the detention as long as the reasonably articulable suspicion lasts. Once the suspicion is extinguished, the basis for the Fourth Amendment seizure is over. When the police no longer have a basis to do the seizure, they have to let you go. And he's like, oh, I'm not gonna let you go. Why are we still talking? Good question.
Was I speeding?
Yes, you were.
No, I was not.
Okay, you weren't speeding?
No, sir.
All right, your license, please.
Okay, that was a bit of a mistake by the driver here to provide a suggestion to the officer, right? Why say, was I speeding, right? The better question would have been, why am I being detained? And make the officer come up with the suggestion. It may come up with speeding, but why feed him the idea that it was speeding, right? So that is a slight mistake by our friend here. Don't do that. And now the officer's gonna try to leap at that. Okay, yeah, it was speeding. I want your driver's license. All right, let's see what happens next.
Do you have me clocked for speeding, or did you pull me over for that? Because that's the first time you told me
Yes,
you pulled me over for that. Now you're telling me speeding.
Let me start over. Okay.
Please do.
I said I noticed you with your phone. You corrected me. You said your phone was us up. You didn't have your phone in your hand, so I was mistaken.
So then you got me for something else now.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You have a supervisor?
I do have a supervisor. So
Why don't you get him out here?
Your license, please.
What did you clock me at?
Sir, I did not clock you.
Exactly. So I wasn't speeding, because I saw you whenever I turned off of Garfield, and I am obviously not going to speed past a cop. Whenever I passed you, I was going 16 miles an hour. It's 25 on these 20 or 25 on these roads.
My supervisor is quite a distance away. I'm gonna give you a warning and let you go. You want to talk to my supervisor?
Great.
All right, I'll call my supervisor.
So you're holding me here
You asked for your supervisor.
because you're asking for my license for no reason, because I wasn't speeding. I'm not going to give you my license unless I was speeding.
All right, so you want to...
So if you're good with it and I can drive away, I don't need your supervisor.
Okay.
But if you want my license and you're going to violate my Fourth Amendment, you're absolutely getting your supervisor.
Do you want me to call my supervisor?
Do you want my license?
Yes, I want your license.
Yes, your supervisor.
Okay.
An interesting exchange there on the law, by the way, because this goes to the issue of who is extending the stop, right? So if the person, the driver, is the one extending the stop, then the Fourth Amendment concerns go away because he's the one extending the detention, right? You can continue to talk to the police as long as the police will let you, right? There's nothing stopping you from talking to police. So he says, I want a supervisor. Now, if he's the one making the request, then that moots the Fourth Amendment concern. But he's being a little bit clever here because he's like, okay, I'm only asking for a supervisor if you want my driver's license. Very, very interesting on that basis. So as to the underlying speeding idea, it is true that if the officer had multiple different bases, that he could obviously pull you over for multiple different reasons, right? If you're speeding and you have a tail light out and you have a cell phone up on your ear and this and this and this, obviously each of them would give an independent basis for the cop to pull you over. And the probable cause or reasonably articulable suspicion, as the case may be, would have to be extinguished for all of them. Now, what's interesting here is that the officer said he didn't clock him, which is to say that he wasn't using a radar gun. That isn't required in any jurisdiction that I'm aware of that to actually use a radar gun for the purpose of conducting a speeding. Because, you know, obviously if an officer sees someone just flying down the street, they can pull you over even if they don't have their radar gun at that moment. And they are allowed to estimate your speed. They can use their eyes and other traffic to make estimates. The fact that he's obviously lying is more of a problem because he didn't observe him speeding. He's just making shit up. That didn't happen. None of this happened. The officer is just trying to save some face. And he's like, well, I'll let you off with a warning. You know, I just want to see your driver's license so I can let you off with a warning. The officer is clearly lying.
So those are fellow officers, not my supervisor. Supervisor on side time, so he's coming over, okay?
Great use of resources there.
I'm sorry?
Great use of resources there.
Okay, you asked for a supervisor, so.
Well, because you're trying to violate my Fourth Amendment.
Sir?
Are you or are you not? Why
He's
do you
not gonna
need my
admit to
license
that.
if I wasn't speeding? If I didn't commit an infraction, why do you need my license?
Visually,
You can't pace from sitting still. You cannot pace from
I'm not
sitting
going to
still.
argue with you, okay?
Well, then prove your point.
So let
I don't think that's legally correct. I think you can pace from sitting still, right? You can make an observation, right? You can obviously, pacing is the idea that I was traveling at 25 and you were passing me, so you must have been going faster than that, right? But can you pace from someone standing still? Yeah, possibly. I mean, he'd obviously have to base that in court to say how he did that based on my training and experiences, of course, what the officer will say. You know, based on my training, experience, and my observations, I observed that this guy was going 50 miles an hour down this 25-mile-an-hour road. Yeah, that's probably gonna be upheld in court, but the officer's clearly lying. So can he do it? Yes. Did he do it? No.
How do you know I was speeding? I'll sit here and shut up. You tell me how you know I was speeding.
Visually, you came up rapidly behind me. You were speeding. My interpretation, I didn't get your radar, so that is why I told you were speeding. Okay?
You don't know that, so you don't get my license.
You don't have to give me a license. You want a supervisor? I asked you, I was gonna give you a verbal, let you go. You want my supervisor? My supervisor's on his way, so that's where
No, you wanted my license to give me a verbal. This all would have been done if you wouldn't have said you needed my license for nothing.
You heard what I said? All right, so
That you don't know any violation and you wanted my license.
You were speeding.
I was not speeding.
That's your interpretation and mine.
No, that's the fucking truth because it said 16 miles an hour on. I'm telling the truth. You wanted to ID me. You guys don't like it when citizens don't bow down to you.
So you don't have to bow down to me.
Then let me be on my damn way without violating my Fourth Amendment.
You can argue and say what you want to say.
Get out of my fucking face, dude.
Real quick, I just wanted to say that Attorney Tom / Attorney Reacts content is now on Spotify. We just launched a partnered show, link in the description. Go check it out. Now, back to the video.
I mean, he has every right to be hostile and angry. The cop is clearly lying. He's obviously lying. He didn't observe him speeding. That isn't what he said. He said, I observed you with your cell phone in your hand. My cell phone is right here. Okay, my mistake. End of reasonably articulable suspicion. The reason that you articulated the cell phone is no longer valid. And now you want to be like, oh, it was speeding. But if you ask me, I believe this guy. I think the cop is clearly making stuff up. Don't make stuff up. It's bad.
Why do you have me stop right now?
Don't.
You want to start over?
And I will too.
Okay,
and
so
we can shake hands and be done. I will calm down.
Sir, I'm calm. Exactly, sir. So I'm driving. I saw you behind me. I saw the phone up. I thought you had your phone in your hand. Okay? So I pulled you over because of the phone. When I came up here, you corrected me and told me, and this, you're right, it's on the mount. You said it was on the mount. I said, sir, I stand corrected. Exactly.
Have a good day. You're on your way.
No, and I said you were speeding.
No, only after you asked.
We're going to start over.
We're starting over, but you're still wrong. We can start over,
Sir,
but you're still wrong.
You can be right. We can all be going back and forth. I'm just explaining. You asked me to start over. I'm just saying what I saw and what I interpreted. And I did not get you on radar. You're exactly right. I did not.
You pulled me over for that phone and you were wrong.
And I corrected myself. I told you you're right.
But you still got to get that license. It's like crack to you guys. I don't understand. You got to have it. Let me have that license. How fast do you think I was going?
You're going over 10% over the speed limit.
You're out of your mind, bro.
Sir, my interpretation.
You're out of your mind. So if the speed limit here is it 20 or 25? I was doing 16. Is it 20 or 25 right here?
I don't know. You tell me.
You don't know.
Uh-oh. He doesn't know what the speed limit is. How does he know he was going 10% over the speed limit without knowing what the speed limit is? That reasonably articulable suspicion is looking even more shaky than it was. So he's clearly lying. You were going 10% over the speed limit. What is the speed limit? No idea. Well, that's a neat trick. Don't know how that one's supposed to work. Wow. This officer really wants to save face. Woof.
No, you tell me.
You don't. Either way. So if it's 25. 10% over would be 22.
If it's 25, 10% over is 2.5 miles.
Yeah. Okay, so 27.5.
Yeah.
So you visually saw me going 27.5 miles an hour.
Yes, sir.
You're a fucking liar, dude. Don't come back up to this car. Get your supervisor. I'm not talking
My
to you
supervisor
anymore.
is right. Like
Not talking to you anymore. You're a liar.
He is a liar. He's clearly a liar. I understand this guy being frustrated. This officer is clearly and absolutely lying. People make mistakes. Officers make mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. So you don't necessarily have to be right in fact. You just have to observe something. He thought he observed something. He pulled the guy over. Oh, my observation was clearly wrong. Okay, I made a mistake. I made a mistake of fact. Sorry for the inconvenience and all. I hope you have a great day. Should have been what happened. But no, no, no. This guy says, do you pull me over for speeding? It's like, yeah, speeding. Speeding, that must be it. I pulled you over for going past the speed limit. What is the speed limit? I don't know. But I know you're going faster than that somehow. This officer is making shit up. This stop is being illegally extended. The officer does not have a reasonably articulable suspicion. He is clearly lying and violating these guys' Fourth Amendment rights. You can make a mistake. It isn't the end of the world. Just let him go about his day. Why are you being such a lying, condescending jackass about this thing?
Yes, sir.
Sir, how you doing?
What can I do for you, man?
I'm wondering why I'm still here.
Well, apparently you called for a supervisor.
Because he wants my license when I have committed no traffic infraction. When your officer first got up to this vehicle, he said he pulled me for this.
Okay.
Because that's up there. When that was wrong, then he tells me that I'm speeding. I know for a fact I wasn't. I looked down at 16. The whole time I was behind him and past him, I looked down, I was 16 miles an hour.
Okay.
But he wants to get my license. He already told me he hasn't clocked me. He estimated my speed from a standstill, which you can't pace from a standstill. He says I'm going 10% over the posted speed limit.
Okay.
From a standstill, he knows this. I'm not giving up my license unless you're threatening to take me to jail. I'm not the war you guys want right now with all y'all have going on. I was going 16 miles an hour, but I'm not going to let him violate my Fourth Amendment when he was wrong.
Okay. So you just, what do you want now? What is it that
I want to be unmolested from my government and on my way.
Okay.
It's not funny.
Well, I mean, you sat here waiting for me when...
Because he wouldn't let me go.
Okay. All you need to do is verify that you have a driver's license.
Not going to do it. He doesn't have a reason to see it.
Well, now, yeah, actually, we do have a reason to see
What
it.
reason is that?
Because we can actually stop you to check your driver's
No,
license.
you can't.
Yes, we can.
Not unless I've committed an infraction.
We actually can. I searched the traffic code. It'll tell you right there. But that's all he wanted to verify. He's going to send you on your way.
No.
So, go. I'll let you go. Go.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Wilson.
Wilson. Badge number?
330.
Thank you, sir.
330.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of that case. Really interesting how when the guy ultimately said no, it's like, oh, I'll just let you along my way. I have the right to demand your driver's license just for driving. Do you? Do you? Because that doesn't sound right. Right? If he set up a roadside stop, right, you can do that, according to the Supreme Court, like the same way you could do like a DUI checkpoint. Obviously, your state law may vary, but can you set up a DUI checkpoint, right, to just check everyone who's going through a particular section? The Supreme Court has said yes. Can you do that for the purpose of a driver's license? Yes, you can if you set up a checkpoint, but you can't just pull over people randomly. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not aware of any law anywhere that just says, oh, you can pull over a driver anytime just to check to see if they have a driver's license. That is not a thing. How could it be? Just driving along normally? But this guy's like, oh, I totally have the right to do it. And this guy's like, well, I'm not going to do it. So if the officer's right, he should be like, okay, you're under arrest because you're not complying. But the officer knows he can't do that. He's just making shit up. So we got the guy who initially pulled him over making shit up. We got the supervisor making shit up. And this guy quite reasonably irritated at the making shit up because they're making up shit about facts. They're making up shit about law. It's all a bunch of absolute garbage. Unbelievable. So it's wonderful that he got this on tape because, you know, no judge would believe this. without the tape, because of course suspects say all kinds of stuff all the time to get out things. No person would believe that this is true. And that's one of the wonderful things about body cameras in general. Obviously this isn't a body camera, but just as a point, because it shows who's in the right, or it can often show who's in the right. Body cameras don't necessarily show everything, but they can often be a very substantive clue. He stood up for his rights, perhaps not the most ideal way possible, but he was obviously angry and had every right to be. The officer was clearly in the wrong and making up lies. So today is definitely a day where the officer is behaving badly. So as we celebrate July 4th in this great nation of ours, God bless America for our Constitution. I've been Uncivil Law. Until later, my friends, I hope all is well. Cheers, my friends. Until next time, goodbye.
Big verdict.